118 pounds. He is the great Verne Gagne.
Hey, whoa, what's up? We are live on fourhorsemannetwork.com and on Brass Ring Media TV too. That's our new brand here. More on that a little bit later. We're live though with, hey, the boss is on assignment. He's out.
Where is the boss?
Where's the boss? You know what?
The boss?
Who's the boss now?
Well, I'm taking over. You're the boss.
Oh, I don't know about that. You don't want me in charge. We got Greg Gagne here live with us. Greg, how you doing, man? How's the week been so far?
You know, so far we've had a few ups and downs, but you know, Laura's been taking care of me. My kids have been taking care of me. They won't let me go out of the house. So I'm having a hell of a time.
You're weathering the storm for the most part as much as you can after a big back surgery like that. Is everything kind of?
Well, we've had some nice days, but today it's only like 42. But then tomorrow it's supposed to be in the 70s.
Oh, and, dang!
Yeah, we woke up this morning. We're both freezing our butts off. My daughter, we're staying at her place. She's on a cruise. With her husband, and so we're staying at their place. And Laura's going, God darn it, it's cold in here. And we look around. They got it set at 62.
Oh my gosh! And
you can't change it.
No, you can't.
No, she locked it on us.
Oh my gosh!
One time, and she said, "No, it's got to be set at this." And we were both freezing our butts off.
Oh, I like it hot in my apartment too.
I like it cool, but not that cool.
Yeah, not that cool. I know. Anytime I go to my brother's place, his wife always likes it cold in there too, and I'm just like, I'm freezing in here. I don't know how you can sleep like this.
You got to get under the covers. Get somebody next to you. You had them all in Vegas.
I got them all in Vegas.
Tell us about that.
Hey, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I can't say. I can't.
Well, there's one thing we can talk about. How did you get the shingles?
Oh yeah, guys. If you weren't aware, I got shingles.
Which not one of the gals.
One of the gals. She was an older gal. Just kidding.
I heard you were running around with one about 80 years old. So
yeah, it was one of Wayne Newton's gals.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They're the most fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, Vegas was a good time. WrestleMania week and all that stuff, and a lot of different. Got to see Arn Anderson. Got to see Ted DiBiase, Jake Roberts, Kurt Angle. Got to Kevin Nash, a whole crew of guys. So it was really nice to kind of reconnect.
How's Kurt doing?
Kurt's doing great. Yeah, Kurt's doing great. He looks good.
What's he doing now?
So he's just staying busy. I think he's got his own ducks lined up when it comes to maybe like some amateur wrestling kind of plans and certain things to when it just comes to like promoting his brand and himself and stuff like that. I think.
Well, why don't we get him on the show one of these days?
We should definitely get him on the show. I think.
Can you get him on?
How about? I think I probably could. Yeah. I think I probably could. That'd be a good one. Geez, I can't believe I didn't really even think about that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, okay, Mr. Promoter.
Yeah, I'm glad we got you around.
Yeah, we got to bring some guests on one of these days.
Well, you know, we got to do something.
Well, and Nash, he'd be great to have on there.
Kev on here. Kev might be tougher though, because Kev he goes to his. He's a pretty aloof person. He's we're lucky when we get him for the shows. But he'll show up every Thursday. We do a recording. And do the show there, but he goes to the condo he has and records. So he picks and chooses. But yeah, I'm sure we can get some good.
Pick us.
Yeah, get him.
I asked if he'd come on.
Heck yeah! Well, we got some good questions here in the chat, so I'm starring those guys. If you do have questions, we always take them. So ask away, and they can be historic, they can be current, modern product stuff, and we can get some perspective from Greg on here and chat about some different stuff. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, be sure to like, subscribe, fourhorsemannetwork.com. I will attach a link to once you see this episode. But all our content is going to go back on a separate YouTube channel. We're going to go live on Four Horseman Network every week, but we're going to have our own YouTube channel again with Greg Gagne Magnum TA. All the clips, all the episodes will all be there. We'll be the home to that one. I'll try to put some of the older episodes up too that have gone missing, quote unquote, but we'll get those back up. Yeah, so should be some cool stuff. Marcus, my brother would be a good guest. Oh, interesting. He'd be a hard get. I probably got to pay him to get on here. That Marcus.
Is he still training?
Yeah, he just wrestled. The neat thing, Greg, is he wrestled. I should have sent pictures. He wrestled in our hometown. We grew up 30 minutes away from where he wrestled, and the first time he wrestled as a good guy, a babyface.
Really?
And it was in front of like my older sister. He got to wrestle in front of his little daughter, who's 4.5. And it was cool. It was a lot of our high school friends were there, so it was really neat to see that. The crowd started chanting for him. They started chanting for his daughter. It was pretty wild. I'm like, how do you get behind this guy? But Marcus, he's a natural.
Yeah. How did he do?
He did good. He did really good. Yeah. Too Cold Scorpio was also on the card, but he wrestled another young wrestler named Clay Campbell, and they did a pretty good job. So it was. I'll have to send you some of the matches, Greg. I would love to get your feedback on it for sure. So
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'll definitely send you some stuff. But as far as anything else, I did want to mention. Did you get to catch Raw this past week? Any thoughts on that? If you did,
yeah, I thought it was kind of a dull show.
Yeah, interesting. I thought there was some highlights, but it felt like it was.
Yeah, it was really. After WrestleMania, you're going to have, after a big event like that, you're going to have a little lull in where you're going with everything. And it wasn't. I've talked to a couple of friends of mine that follow it religiously.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, Mike Maggi, and he said it to me first. He said it was a little dull tonight. And I said, yeah, it was. But, there was a lot of new things that they were creating in there. And that's what you have to go with. I thought it was a little overwhelming with Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
They had him on quite a bit. They had him on at the beginning, then they had him on at the end. And, it was at the end there, it was great what they did. They're really setting up for something there. That one got me good.
Yeah, I like the new faction here between Seth and Paul Heyman, and then you have Braun Breaker as like the enforcer of this.
You know what? He's good.
Yeah.
That's a good combination with Heyman with him. But there was so much talking, and then with the Sami Zayn thing, they had a little bit at the beginning, and then more at the end, and I could see where they were trying to go with it. But I don't know. I just didn't get a good feeling about it. We got a lot of heat on those guys because that's what they want.
Sure.
I don't know. What did you think?
So I liked some aspects of it. I think like some of the matches were really good and fun.
The matches were good.
But I do kind of agree with you. They're kind of hitting this aspect where it's like, okay, we're off of WrestleMania, so we got some fresh new ideas that we're going to execute. But at the same turn, you're missing some of your mainstream talent, like Cody's not being there. John Cena's not there this week. CM Punk, I don't think CM Punk was there at all, right? I don't think he was on the show at all.
No,
so
Cody wasn't there.
Cody, yep. And so like you're missing some pretty big names.
Roman wasn't on there.
Roman's not there. So it's like you're definitely trying to readjust and put some new perspective out on there, but you're definitely missing some elements too at the same time. So but I tell you what, Backlash is looking like a really good card. Like,
it does. It looks really good. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to build for here. But you always have that lull when you come off a big event like the 2-day event with WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go with it? And it looked like they gave some of the talent a little break there, so they didn't have to be on every week.
Yeah.
And that's what one that really, and boy, I'll probably get a lot of heat for this one, is the Irish girl.
The what?
The Irish girl.
Oh, Lyra Valkyria?
Yeah.
What about her?
I can't get a good feel for her.
Mm-hmm.
Something that where I'd want to buy a ticket to see her.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Becky Lynch, that's going to be good, but will that help make the girl or not? I don't know.
I think that's kind of a mindset. I don't think a lot of people kind of maybe agree with you in that, Greg. And like, I like her. I think she's talented in the ring and she's got a good look.
Talented, but
yeah,
there's something Charisma.
There's something extra missing.
There's something missing for me.
Yes. And I think if anybody can help bring it out of her, it's probably Becky, especially in the role where like Lyra is the baby face and then Becky is the heel. I think there could be some potential to kind of get her heated up a little bit. And if not, I think it would behoove them to kind of maybe turn her heel at some point and see how she does in a heel role. Because then you can find so many times when you turn somebody heel, they find their own personality in a much better way. And then like they can
sometimes, guess she there's just something missing that I guess is charisma. I mean, that's all I can come up with. But I can't get into her where I see some of the other gals, and man, I'll tell you, they're on.
They're on. Like, well, I mean, when you have heavy hitters like a Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley or Liv Morgan, they're all know who they are in a lot of ways. And it's just like, so for those younger girls like Elvira Valkyrie and stuff to amp up their game, they got to really get a feel for who they are. And, I think she's gotten some opportunities too, but I don't know how ultimately has been a big focus. Like it seems like they're putting more of a focus on her after WrestleMania season now with this story. So maybe we'll get to see some more personality from her, hopefully. And
then they had that little match with Tiffany.
Yep.
And that was really well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their match was so. It looked like they were stumbling around a little bit. She was with God, what's her name? The bodybuilder. The black
so you mean Ivy Nile? Like the Ivy Nile? I'm thinking of what?
No, well,
on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think it was SmackDown. I've watched so many, I'm getting confused. I
know. I didn't get to catch SmackDown, so I know Tiffany was on there. So
her and Green. What?
Chelsea Green.
No, not Kelsey. I'm sorry.
I'm taking a look here.
The tag team partner originally with Bianca Belair.
Naomi.
Who?
Oh, Jade Cargill.
Jade, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Boy, I'm stumbling around here. They must have.
No, you knew more than I did. You knew more than I did. Yeah.
Jade and Tiffany had a match.
Yeah.
And it was a little awkward, I think.
Yeah.
They missed a few things. But when Nina Jax came in there.
Yeah, Nia Jax. Yep.
Nina Jax, and oh my God, that was really good. that's gonna heat things up.
She's underrated, Nia Jax, I think.
Oh, she's fun. I think she's one of the phenomenal ones in the girls.
Oh yeah,
the way she comes across, what she does in the ring, it's always believable and very solid.
Yep.
And that's going to be quite a combination there. See what happens with it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think too. It'll be interesting to see how they develop all that stuff. Jade, she's got such a big presence about her. I think they're going to do their best.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you'd want to talk about charisma. That's Jade Cargill has that for sure too.
She does have that.
Yeah. So does Tiffany too, obviously.
Yeah, obviously she's got that little thing that turns the people on.
Yep. Right.
Either turn them on or she'll turn them off eventually. But
right,
she's doing a great job. I'm proud of her.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see all that, and well, hopefully, once things start developing more, we'll get more of a solid case for what they're doing with the women's division. I'd like to see what they're going to do with Charlotte next and everything to that effect as well.
Yeah, they got a good crew. I mean, the girls are phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really are. It's a great group. They've done an excellent job with it.
No doubt.
So, where are they going now? Where's Cody Rhodes going?
That's what I was going to ask you. Because Cody hasn't been
seen first.
Yeah, Cody hasn't been seen since WrestleMania. I like him being able to take this breather and kind of being gone. I know we were talking about like how it felt like you're missing some stars and stuff like that. But it makes sense, I think, overall, not just from a professional standpoint, but giving him absence makes a heart grow fonder, so to speak. So I think him being away will ultimately pay some dividends. But and I'm curious. I'm curious if they'll make him go like this completely different route, because last time we saw him, he hesitated and he did not hit John Cena with the title, even though he had the opportunity to, and it cost him that championship. So I'm curious how much that will come back to play in the story of Cody being, again, will we see a different type of Cody? Will he be more heelish? Will he have a new look? Certain things that people are speculating about, that kind of thing. So
maybe.
I don't know. How would you handle it, Greg? What would you do?
Well, I don't know. On my phone, you get these news flashes all the time.
Uh-huh.
And it was that Cody Rhodes was leaving the WWE.
Yeah.
Did you read that one?
No, I didn't read that. That's definitely not happening, I would say.
Yeah, that was on my phone. And I called TA. I said, "What? Cody's not leaving the WWE." He said, "Well, no, he took his family and they went to Disney World."
Yeah.
But there's still rumors in there comes up on the phone all the time. Maybe it's just teasing everybody.
It's probably the crappy dirt sheets. Some of the crappy dirt sheets, they throw stuff out there and they're like,
"Oh, do they?"
Or they'll make it clickbaity where it's like, "Oh, Cody's leaving." Well, yeah, he's gone now from WWE, like technically, but he'll be back. Like,
yeah,
they kind of do all they can to get some clicks on there.
Yeah, they get people talking, and that's what you got to do, is keep people talking about it and keep them off guard.
Yep.
And they're doing a good job of it. They've got such a strong cast there. And Roman Reigns, to me, man, he's still the man.
He is the man. I think I'm curious what they're going to do with him, because I think he's kind of indicated that he's going to be part-time mostly moving forward, it seems. And like that, not that he already was, he kind of was in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious what's going to be next. Like, will we see him not till SummerSlam? I think that's a possibility,
You see him and Punk against Rollins and Breakker.
Mm-hmm. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it'll be neat to see who they kind of pit up again. I mean, we're getting Jey Uso up against Logan Paul, which I like.
You know what? That was the best thing that could have happened. That was the best opponent he could possibly have.
Yes.
As we were talking last week, we were a little nervous about where they were going with them, and could he carry it? Well, they found the right opponent for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that should be a heck of a match. And interesting to see what the outcome will be on that one.
I know. I think that, you think about Logan Paul defeating AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and it's like, okay, that makes sense if he's going up against Jey Uso next. And so, I think those two will complement one another really well on the microphone,
on the mic and in the ring.
In the ring.
Tremendous match.
Yeah. It should be.
Logan Paul, I mean, for as short time as he's been in there, he has really done a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. How old is he? Do you know?
I think if I had to guess, I would say probably he's like 32. That'd be my guess.
Logan Paul. He's kind of in his prime there. But
30 years. He's only 30 years old.
Yeah, it's hard, in wrestling, to get your body prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when Verne ran the camps, I mean, we were 6 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's putting in the time with somebody. I don't know who he's working with, but he's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
At that short of time. Usually when somebody comes into the sport of wrestling, it takes 4 to 5 years before you really click and become a main eventer.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate because of the training we had.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that Verne turned out, which was over 145, most of them were in the main event within 2 years.
Wow. And
when I took Tiffany on to train her, I trained her the same way Verne trained us.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years.
Yeah.
But she got more help though in NXT.
Sure, absolutely.
And I don't know how long she was down there. So she really had about maybe 3.5 to 4 years of training before she got up to the WWE. And in the short time she's up there, she's done phenomenal.
She's done, really good
She's
work.
still stumbling around a little bit, but again, it's nerves. They put her in that position. She'll get over that. She'll be great. But Logan Paul, going back to him, I'd like to know, has he been training in the WWE?
He has. He's been working with somebody at the Performance Center. I wish I remembered who it was, but like they've been really working with him. It's a notable name that's been working with him. But
I knew he had to, because he's really progressed, and he caught on real quick, and he's got I don't know, he's good on the mic.
Holy smoke! Just a natural heel and not afraid to be a chicken shit heel either.
No.
He's not, which is great. You don't see that too much anymore.
No.
Somebody that embraces that chicken shit heel kind of thing.
Yep, that old school.
Yeah,
still works.
It still works. And he gets hated, man, and that's what it's so cool to see. He does a really good job. He's one of my favorite things to tune into, to be honest. I think.
Let's ask Magnum what he thinks. Oh,
Magnum,
he's not here again today.
Oh, dang it!
I took the time off when I wasn't feeling good, and he's got a big conference call today.
Big call.
And keep our fingers crossed here.
Big call for the boss.
One thing I like to talk about, because we're getting a lot of Instagram stuff, is Power Town.
Yeah.
Is it okay to talk about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Go for it, Greg.
And we're really frustrated. And I know the fans out there are more frustrated than we are, especially the ones that have been waiting so long. But the way things are, our molds are made in China, and China has been holding this up, and that's why they haven't been delivered. So we apologize to everybody out there, and I had a long Instagram message from somebody the other day and talked back to them and told them if they just hang in there, things are going to work out. We apologize for it, but under the circumstances, we're having a really tough problem with China, and we are TA's on the phone today. That's what he's doing. We're finding other outlets so we can get everything delivered a lot faster. So everybody out there, if you have, I know you're mad, and I don't blame you one bit, but have some patience, and everything's going to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like different circumstances come into play. And, I understand. I empathize with fans' frustrations, especially, the pre-order stuff is neat because you can get a jump early on it. But there's also that double-edged sword of it all, too, where you have to wait for it, and then it gets produced. And then, heck, all those complications come into play, like what's going on now and everything. So,
it's a tough one. We feel bad about it, but we're gearing up, and we got some great things coming up. So, everybody, hang in there. We won't let you down.
Absolutely. And if you guys,
our words, if you go back and you talk to a lot of people, our words are gold.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's no way they're trying to undermine or anything to that effect, for sure. No. I can speak to all that. Absolutely.
Thanks
yeah, absolutely, Greg. Yeah. And guys, if you want more info, go on the Instagram, Powertown, type in Powertown on Instagram, and the statement's up there. You can take a read of the statement and get a little further more information too on all that stuff.
We just restructured our entire company.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw that or not, but we've got some heavy hitters involved. Yeah. So gear up and get ready.
Gear up for that. Absolutely, guys. So no, thanks for sharing that, Greg. As far as I did want to get, you talked about how it took about Verne would train people for about 2 years during those camps.
He'd train them for, we went 6 months.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Or let's see, we went from September, and I think we started in March.
Okay.
So, but it was 6 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And, in Minnesota, out in a barn with no windows and no doors, and it's 15 below zero, and we're getting body slammed out there after you get a good sweat going.
Golly.
But he trained everybody like that. And, the Anderson brothers, Gene, Ole, and Lars, all
Yeah.
3 of them.
Wow.
Blackjack Mulligan, Blackjack Lanza.
Those are hell of
Sergeant
names.
Slaughter, Ricky Steamboat.
Well, what I was going to ask is who did really catch on extremely quickly? Is there a name that really stands out to you that was like, wow, this guy really picked it up really quick, more than anybody else? Is there a couple of those names that
well, I think our whole crew that came out of our group did.
Yeah.
The Iron Sheik, Flair.
Yeah, Flair.
Denzel, Ken
Flair
Patera.
took to it pretty quick. I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, he was a natural.
Yeah.
And then Verne would send everybody out to different areas. Jim went down to Kansas City for a while, and then he was up in Charlotte, and then came back. Sergeant Slaughter, same thing. Started here, got a good start, and then Verne sent him out to, wherever. Eddie Graham and Verne switched talent quite a bit. Right. Bill Watts. He'd send guys to Bill and the Crockett's. And, the Crockett's, their territory at one time had as many talents that came out of the AWA than anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
They had the Anderson brothers and
Steamboat.
Yeah. Sergeant Slaughter went down there.
Yeah. Flair, obviously.
Yeah. It was, that's just the way it was back then. WWE's doing I think a fantastic job with young talent now in the way they're bringing them up. And also, they signed the big Mexican group.
Yeah. Oh, AAA.
TNA probably come under the umbrella eventually.
Yeah.
And who knows how many more. But when I look at it, it reminds me of baseball.
Yeah.
The WWE is looking out for these independent groups that have some good talent on them and bring them in under their umbrella. And then training them the way they want them to be trained, but still keeping them with TNA and whoever else is out there that they're right. But it's like the major and minor leagues of baseball. You got your Class A, your Class B, and so on. And that's what they can do with all these groups, and they've got everybody under their umbrella.
That's a great point. And I start thinking too, like you see some talent from WWE gets released and then they go somewhere else. Lo and behold, like an example is that Indy Hartwell gal. She was released from WWE. And then just this past weekend at TNA Rebellion, she shows up. She's in TNA now. But so it's like they get going. So quote unquote, they maybe go back. They go to the minor leagues or they go to like, a different class, get some seasoning somewhere else. And then they can return and still feel like a viable asset to WWE and maybe even bigger so.
All right. Look at on WrestleMania.
Right.
They brought the guy from TNA, their champion.
Yeah, Joe Hendry.
Yeah. That was a great little bit.
It was. And like Randy, good way to highlight.
Let's talk about Randy.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Well, so, I keep thinking like, John Cena, and he said this too at Pat McAfee, was that he lost a step. If you look at 2025 John Cena in comparison to 2015 John Cena, he's like, I lost a step, and that means I'm ready to retire. And like, if you look at WrestleMania, the match was a little clunky. And so I think there will always, depending on how you position him, there might always be this question like, well, is this when John Cena will lose the title? But I think like them taking it off of him so quick wouldn't help anything, I think, at this juncture. But you still have the intrigue of Randy Orton being in the mix and having him be in the babyface role. The roles are reversed here finally with these guys.
Yeah, isn't Randy? Hasn't he won it like 14? Had been champion 14 times.
14 times. So he's been at
he's close to going after that record too.
He's close too. Yeah.
And if Orton beats him,
that's 15 then.
Yeah, and then who would he wrestle next? Cody,
I would think, because they have a history, But I mean, how's that all gonna? It's fast. I really like the promo that they did on SmackDown, Cena and Orton. If you remember what they said, because Randy was like, you got to have some kids, John, and settle yourself down a little bit. And then John was like, I've been raising everybody's kids and saying all that kind of thing. And then saying, kind of diminishing what the fans are again and all that kind of aspect. And so I thought that was a really, really cool dynamic between those two.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it really is. I'm just waiting to see what the match, how it comes out.
Yes, me too.
But think Randy's going to take it?
No, I don't. If I had to place a bet, I would say it's just too soon. Even though it gives me a little bit of pause to think about it. Like Cena just looked a little slow out there. You know what I mean? But he's got how many more dates left? I think there's more of a story to tell with him as champion and teasing the fact that he's leaving with the championship. Sure, they'll have to make another one, but it won't be the same one that Bruno had or Bret Hart had or Stone Cold had or anything like that. It'll have to be a different. I like that story that they're telling. So I think they're going to prolong that a little bit. What do you think? Do you think it a different way?
I'm on the edge on this one.
Yeah.
I really am. Because, John's doing such fantastic interviews.
Yeah.
His interviews are better than the match.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. And it's, when you get away from it for a year or two, and he's in great shape.
Yes.
But you still lose a little of your timing and the missteps. The more he keeps going, he'll catch back up.
Right.
But he's got that gap now. He's just doing the pay-per-views. So it's, a month, 6 weeks away.
Right.
You really can't get yourself prepared again. He can work out all he wants, but not different than getting in the ring and going live.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And your breathing and everything is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked to me, he got a little heavy breathing in the match with Cody at times.
Yeah. Which
kind of lost his little edge and timing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough, boy. And I don't know.
And I think it's a fair.
Randy would take it though. That's what I'm thinking.
It's a fair thing to think about too, because guess what? Backlash is in St. Louis, and Randy Orton's from St. Louis,
right?
So,
that telling you, he's going to win the title.
Yeah, maybe, that could really set it up.
It sets it up. So, yeah,
but he could still lose it for sure too, and
without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any questions out there that anybody has about anything?
Oh yeah, I started a few of them already. So, I did. We'll start with that Eddie Prather one here, who's a loyal listener. We were talking about who caught on really quickly. You were mentioning that whole class with Verne that you were in as well. Eddie asked how about Ken Patera? Did he catch on pretty quick?
Oh yeah, Ken did. Yeah, that whole group.
Yeah.
Within 2 years, most of them were champions somewhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ken got a big push up in New York.
Yep.
And he worked with Bruno.
Right.
And everywhere else he went, he did really well in Charlotte.
Yeah.
He did it wherever he went. But, Ken was a really good athlete, for a guy, before he went in the Olympics, and he was the first guy to press 500 pounds over his head.
Yeah.
And he won the gold medal. Verne sponsored him because he wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
And how he got hooked up with my dad was his brother was one of the Viking coaches.
Oh.
And Verne was real close with Bud Grant, and he went to school with him and all the coaches there. And they said, this guy Patera, my brother Ken, would, going to go for the Olympics, and he'd like to wrestle afterwards.
Yeah.
So Verne sponsored him for the Olympics, and Ken was about 320, 330. So we went over there to watch him. And when he got in, he was going to psych out Medved, the big Russian guy, rich guy, a really strong guy. So Patera gets out there, and he was the first guy to really press 500 pounds over his head. So they have three lifts they got.
Mm-hmm.
So Ken goes out for the first one, and he passes on it. So that's like a miss.
Oh, okay.
He's going to psych out the Russian.
Yes.
So the second one comes up, he passes, and they're adding weight each time.
Greg, when you do that, does that dock you? Does that dock you?
Yeah.
They dock.
Yeah, 3 misses and you're done.
Wow. Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So now he comes to the third one, and he's going to do the 500 pounds, and he hadn't done anything before it, and he misses it.
Oh, Ken, no.
He did one over 500 pounds and won the thing.
Oh,
my dad was so hot at him. All that time and all that training. And then the night before, he'd gone out in Munich and hooked up with some gal there, and he was at the bar all night long. So then he comes, and I don't know if he was still drunk, but he passed. Everybody's going, what are you doing? He thinks he's sick and rushing out. Oh, God, Verne was hot. So he came back then when he got into the camp, he came in at 340. And I think when he came out, he was almost 280, 285.
Wow.
I mean, Flair came in at 265, and he came out of the camp at about 230.
Now, was that before or after the plane crash?
Oh, this was before.
This is before. Okay.
Yeah, this was before. I mean, the plane crash came after when Rick was working in Charlotte.
Oh, okay. Because I thought that's when he lost all that weight, was after the plane crash.
Well, I think he put some back on, but he never got up to where he was when he was. Okay.
Because I mean, you see all those older pictures of him, and it doesn't look like.
Here's where we lived. Okay, we had a duplex. Flair and his wife were on one side. Patera, Bob Bruggers, and myself in the other. And it was poor Leslie, Rick's wife. We could tell some stories about that, but we better not.
Well, it's true though, like that Ken literally kept Flair in wrestling because he wanted to quit, right? And it was Verne. Verne did. Okay, because I thought Verne was talking to Ken, Ken, you got to keep him around or something like that.
Well, he sent him out a couple times, but one day, I mean, Rick didn't show up for camp.
Yeah.
And Verne said, "Where's Flair?" And Ken said he quit. Verne said, and he knew where we lived. He drove over there and knocked on the door, and Leslie opened the door, and he says, "Leslie, where's Rick?" "Well, Verne, he quit." I said, "Is he here?" "Yeah, he's in the house here. Tell him to come out." So he came out, and he's got him in the yard talking to him, and Verne's, you can't quit. You got to suck it up here, kid. "Well, this, I'm going to quit." Verne open-handed him, knocked him right on his ass, and said, "Get up, get in my car. You're going to the camp."
Wow.
Twice that happened.
Twice.
So
think about it then, 60 or 50 years later, you're doing the same. Well, you didn't slap Tiffany, obviously, but you're doing the same.
No, I just told her to get out.
You told her to get out, actually. Yeah.
I only trained her because a good friend of mine was a friend of her family's and asked me if I would train her. And I said, "Oh God, I really don't want to train anybody." And I did it as a favor.
Yeah.
And then there was two other kids there, JDX and this what is he? Rampage Santana. And so I had to have somebody to help, because I couldn't go in there with my bad back and do all the stuff. So I worked them hard, ran it the same way we did our camp. And, like I said, 3 times she quit. Or got fired, I should say.
Yeah.
One day she came in. I said, "You're a half hour late." "Well, I'm really tired. I had to do this and this." I said, "Well, get your butt in here."
Yeah.
"I'm tired." And she laid on the mat like this. "I'll just watch." And I said, "Well, you're not going to watch from there. And you're not going to watch from this building. You're going to get in your car and go home and you're done." I said, "Get your butt out of here."
Yeah.
I said, "What do you think this wrestling is?"
Yeah.
I said, "You wrestle in Denver one night, the next night you're Chicago, and you get hurt in Denver. You get in the ring the next day and you wrestle.
You're going to be tired.
So you better learn it now or forget it."
Yeah.
So threw her out. She came back about 15 minutes later. finished off the last 2.5 hours with us. Then the next time she came in again, and I forget what she was pissing and moaning about then. And she just, she wasn't doing things. She wasn't doing. I said, Tiffany, you've done this.
Yeah.
Jessica's her name. I said, you've done this before. What's wrong? Well, I'm really tired. I said, you gave me that crap before and I'll send you home again. And she said, but Greg, I said, but what? I said, get out, go. You're done. The third time, she really got on me. And I said, I'm done. That's it. Out of here. And then Ken Anderson came over. He was watching. He said, what? I said, well, that's the third time. I said, I'm done with this gal. I'm doing this as a favor for her parents wanting her to be a wrestler. And a good friend of mine is friends of theirs. It's the only reason I'm doing it. So Ken must have caught her out in the car. And 10 minutes later, she came back in, apologized to everybody. And then from that time on, no problems.
Smooth sailing.
3 times.
Smooth sailing. Third time's a charm.
Third time. Flair was 2 times.
Flair was 2 times.
But when you see somebody with talent, and the problem with her, she was a gymnast and she won everything. She was really good.
Sure, yeah.
Then they come in with the attitude that they're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And you should, because I was really good at what I did, I need a little time off here. I'm tired.
Yeah.
They burned me. It burned me.
It's not how that works.
Yeah. So right. As soon as she'd come back in, we'd start with the slams and the backdrops and everything else. Do it again. Do it again.
Hell yeah.
Protect yourself. Boom. Oh. Get up. Come on. You're in a match. What are you going to do? Lay there and get beat?
Well, it's paying off in dividends for her now, right?
Yeah.
No.
But, when you go back to Verne, he trained over 145 wrestlers.
Yeah.
And maybe 2% didn't make it to main event.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Yeah. And, even Dick the Bruiser. Verne and him played football. They were both in pro football and they both left.
Yeah.
Bruiser played, I think, a year or 2 with Green Bay. And then he wanted to wrestle and Verne trained him. So, it goes back to that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see, when you see some of these legendary talents, and even Tiffany, since you trained her, when you see some of these talents, do you see a lot of the traits that you or Verne kind of implemented in them, like a Ricky Steamboat? Yeah. Like, what is a key characteristic, like a Verne characteristic you see, like in a wrestler?
Just the way they move in the ring.
Yeah.
The way they grab the holds.
Yeah.
How to get in and out of the hold. You can tell right away. How they grab a headlock, how they lock up.
Right.
Verne was a tickler on the little things. And that in any sport, if you're going to be successful, you gotta be able to do the little things.
Yeah.
That really put it together for you.
Absolutely.
And he was a stickler on that. We do it over and over and over again. It's like anything. It's like when I played football, you throw the ball 100 times a day, boom, 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 till you don't even have to think anymore. You know where the guy's going to be. You get 3 steps back and the timing and boom, and away you go.
Right.
Same thing with the wrestling holds, getting in and out of them and how to control a match. Really how to control a match. He was just a stickler on that.
Right.
And then, and teach you all the holds to really protect yourself. Because there was people that would, especially when you're rookie, they'd try to take advantage of you.
Right.
And there was 2 ways to handle that. You could either take them down and put them in one of these holds, or you can pop them right in the nose.
That's it, one or the other.
Yeah. He said, most of the time it's better to just take them down and put a hold on them and lock it on them.
Yeah.
Then they
nothing fancy.
Yeah. And it was nice submission holds that we learned.
Yeah. Some good key ones there.
Yeah. So he was a stickler on that stuff. And we do it over and over and over. Oh, get body slammed hundreds of times. You got to harden up your body so you can take it.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like like even Marcus when he was starting to train and stuff like that, he was like talking about like how sore he was starting off and everything to that effect. And now he's like just used to it. Basically, it's like
It does. It hardens your body up.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, when the guys got body slammed, I mean, to protect yourself, you have to control the bump.
Yes.
You can't let your opponent control it. So how do you do it? If a guy goes to body slam you, you arch your back, get your head up. So when he throws you, you can control that bump and come down. Both feet hit the mat, the shoulders hit the mat at the same time, the arms hit the mat at the same time, chin tucked in, and your butt up off the mat so your tailbone doesn't hit the mat.
Yeah, yeah.
And on that, in this last surgery I had, they had to go in above the tailbone, drill a hole, and put a spacer in there because the tailbone was pinching that nerve.
Wow.
And, you know, it goes back to, you know, all those body slams over the years and all the other backdrops and everything else.
It wears on you, right?
Yeah, everybody thinks it's easy. You know, they see it, you do it in the ring, but they don't know the hours that people put in to get that good. And that's in any sport.
Any sport.
You know, a lot of people, oh shit, I can throw the ball like that guy. I can run that route. They don't know how to run the route.
No, come on.
You know, they go out there and they circle. Geez, you go down and you make that cut. And those coaches that train that have the most successful teams.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you're right. It's like
successful wrestlers. Yeah,
it's all about the little details and like even when I'm talking to RVD and stuff, he was saying how like him and Sabu, they would train under the Sheik, and it was all foundational stuff that they would learn about. And and they were all out of it. Both Sabu and RVD, when I have them both on, they'd talk about the little details and how important all that is.
Yeah,
like the in between stuff is what really matters.
Yeah.
You know.
And to learn it that fast, I mean, that's, you know, to grasp all that and then go in the ring and have a 20-minute match. You know, we did it so much that we went in there.
Yeah,
we knew what we were doing.
Yeah,
the guys that aren't trained properly that get in there, they struggle, and it takes them a lot longer before they catch on.
Right.
And I got a girl that's been on Instagram. She wants to be a wrestler. You know, she's 32 years old. She was an athlete, but I said, you know, that's a little late in life to be trying to become a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And she lives down, I forget, down south somewhere. And she said, well, where's a good camp to go? And I said, well, the only way is to go to the WWE, see if you can get into NXT.
Yeah.
And then she sent me a deal. Some guy 2 hours away from her is a trainer, you know, and what gets me is they charge these kids, you know, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to train them.
Yeah.
And then they come out of there and they're not really trained.
No, they don't know that. Yeah.
And I told her, I said, don't go down there and give him money. I said, send me his name. So she got the name. I said, I've never heard of the guy.
Do you know who it was? Because it's down in Florida.
I don't even know it was some guy. I never heard of the guy. And he's down training people 2 hours away from where she was going to drive back and forth. And I said, I told her, I said, you know, do what you want to do, but be careful. I said, I've never heard of this guy. And a lot of these guys, they'll take your money and they'll put you in the ring, but they can't really train you for what's coming up if you want to be a professional wrestler.
Absolutely.
You have to get in with the people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, try to get into NXT if you can. But at 32 years old, you know, I don't know.
That's a tough, like, because the age is a factor. It comes into
really
play.
Is.
You know,
it takes longer to harden that body up.
Absolutely, and like WWE looks at that too, like how much shelf life will you have for them too as a marketable product?
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, like if she doesn't do something like that, you always want to try to find a name that's recognizable that actually worked in WWE.
Yeah.
You know? Like the Dudleys, they have their thing, or
Kane, no, that'd be a good one to go to.
Yeah, Booker T does his thing in Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, Ken Anderson, obviously up in Minnesota.
Yeah, Ken. Ken does a good job.
Ken does a good job too. So it's like you want to if you're doing some training, you want to find people that have actually been there and done that before.
Yeah, And really know how to prepare you for what you're going into.
Right.
People watch it. Oh, I can do that. No, you can't.
No.
Same guys. Oh, I can shoot a basketball. Like, no, you can't.
The funny thing is, Greg, is so when I was in Vegas with Marcus and another younger wrestler named Caden Christopher, who's amazing. He looks like Barry Windham. He's really good. But they were showing me on the hotel bed how to take a bump, and so they were like they're like, okay, you gotta like disperse your hands at the same time, like kick your feet up, like that kind of thing. I'm trying to do it. It's tough. It's tough even on the bed.
Well, I can tell you the easiest way is if somebody pick you up, arch your back, keep your head up.
Yeah.
And when you go, lay yourself out, tuck your chin in, hit the mat, your hands and your feet and your ass up all at the same time.
All at the same time.
Boom.
Bam.
Boom.
Disperse the weight.
Boom. Yeah. We'd lay on the mat and do that, hundreds of those.
Oh,
just laying on the mat and kicking yourself up and
that's interesting. So just not even taking the actual bump, but just laying on the mat.
No, we do it on the mat first.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Boom, get your butt up, get your chin up, tucked in. Everything has to hit at the same time. That way your whole body absorbs the shock of the impact.
Yes.
And I mean, I watch kids go in there and get body slammed. I watched one kid, Mad Dog, broke the kid's neck.
Really?
It wasn't he. He body slammed him, and the kid didn't lift his head up. He tucked down, because he wasn't trained properly.
Yeah.
And that's why anybody out there that wants to be a wrestler right now, the Dudleys, yes. Ken Anderson, yes.
Yeah.
Booker T, yes.
Yeah.
After that, if they haven't wrestled professionally and made it to the top, you're wasting your time.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many wannabes out there, and they wrestle these independent things, and the kids aren't trained right. And then they try to train somebody else.
Yeah. And it's a bad habit after that.
And that bugs me more than anything.
Yeah.
If I had the wherewithal, if I could do any of that anymore, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Is have a camp, and I'd have a couple of young guys that I trained, which I've got this JDX and Rampage Santana that really, I mean, I bust their asses.
Hell yeah.
I've been trying to get him into the WWE, and the other day Rampage sent me one of his matches.
Yeah.
And I called him up and I said, "What was that?" Well, what did you? I said, "There was nothing in there that I saw that I trained you on." Where in the shit did you get that? Who's telling you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
He wanted to send a match to the WWE. I said, "You send that up there, you'll never have a shot.
Never get used."
Well, what was wrong with it? I said, "Oh my God, how hard did I work with you?" And well, this guy was telling me. I said, "What does that guy know?"
You're right.
Do you think he knows more than I did?
Yeah.
I taught you this. You take control of the match.
Right.
And that's the whole secret to it, being able to take control of the match. And once you're in control, or if you're with a real veteran that's, both you're in control, you can have a hell of a match.
Right. 100%.
But that's the most important thing. I mean, God almighty, it frustrates me when I see that.
Yeah. No, it is frustrating.
I saw you looking over.
Oh, no, I'm looking at comments. Look at comments. They said, I almost forgot to post this one. No, I wasn't insulted at all, Triple E. This is pretty funny, though. Is Statler okay since Waldorf isn't here today? Statler and Waldorf. Meaning you're Statler. No.
I'm Statler?
No, you're Waldorf and Magnum.
I'm Waldorf. Statler. Who the hell's Waldorf?
Well, you know the Muppets, two old guys.
The Muppets. I'm 76 years old. I don't watch the Muppets.
Oh man, I loved the Muppets as a kid.
Are they making fun of us? Are they saying we're having a
Yeah,
bad show
he
today?
was ripping on you. He's
Uh-oh.
just teasing, though. He's just teasing. Greg, I did want to ask you, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the new Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff venture going on?
No.
You didn't see this?
No.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, it's Real American Freestyle Wrestling. And
What is
apparently,
it?
Real American Freestyle Wrestling, it's called. And they teamed up with, what's the guy's name? Izzy Martinez. And apparently, what it's going to be like is like freestyle wrestling, like amateur wrestling, but presented more of a spectacle, like UFC or WWE. But both Hogan and Bischoff have their names tied to it.
Really?
I don't know the exact dates of it all, but it just got announced like this week. But I was trying to think, do you think
Will it do better than Hogan's beer?
Oh, that's a good question. I tried the Real American beer. I did try it.
How is it?
It's a light beer. There's when I had it, it was kind of refreshing, but I didn't drink a lot that day. So, but it also did not have a lot of flavor. Let me say that much too. That's my honest assessment of it all. So I was refreshed, but it didn't have a lot of flavor. But yeah, I'm curious too. But it's something, do you think presented under the right fashion, something like that, where it's like you really bring out the personalities and people of an amateur wrestling? Is that something that could catch on a little bit, or is that going to be very much more like a niche thing than anything else?
I mean, it's calling it wrestling, but it's wanting to be like the UFC, right?
Yes. It's freestyle wrestling.
UFC's got the lock on that. I mean, I don't know what they think they're going to, how they can overcome what the UFC does.
Right, the marketing aspect, because it's like, with
Uh,
UFC, you have all types of combat in there.
Yeah, and why would you want to go to Bischoff and Hulk and who they have training these people?
Well, speaking of UFC, Ben
I mean, are
Askren.
they taking like the amateur wrestlers coming out of college?
Yeah. So it's like an avenue for amateur wrestlers to kind of almost get a somewhat professional gig, I would say, and get like more money off of it using their amateur wrestling background.
I don't know, because if they can't, if it goes to the amateur rules where you can't hit and you can't.
Yeah, it would go to the freestyle wrestling rules kind of thing, where you're not punching or kicking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if that was so hot, people would be selling out the arenas for them.
Yeah.
I mean, when they have these big events, some of the Big Ten schools that have good wrestling programs, Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, those guys, but do they draw good crowds to watch amateur wrestling?
Yeah.
And even though they're going to call it professional, what are they going to change in the rules that makes it different from what the high school and college kids do?
Right.
I mean, that would be my question. What's going to be different, and what's going to be different than what the UFC is doing?
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe they know more than I do.
I think it's a matter of presentation, but it's also like, because people will be like, oh, there's, people love football, people love pro football and everything like that. But you look at the UFL and like people barely tune into that. And that's pro football,
Right.
So how are you going to make it marketable? I'm intrigued by it. Because I watched some of the amateur wrestling during the Olympics and stuff like that. And I think that's always fun, but that's only like once every 4 years.
Yeah.
How's it going to be presented in a entertaining fashion enough for me and other people to want to tune in week in and week out?
It's going to be. I think that's a tough sell, but maybe they know more than we do.
Maybe. We'll close it off here with a couple of questions. Here's a good one by CB. Question for Greg: what would a wrestler have to do so in or out of the ring to get fired on the spot by Verne? Is there something egregious that Verne would be like, nope, not that. See you later.
I never saw anybody get fired by him. for something that went on in the ring?
Yeah.
No. If it was a younger wrestler and he made a few mistakes, for him to take him to the side and just correct them,
Yeah.
go over it with them. Okay, why did you do that? Or what made you do that?
Yeah.
Or you have to do this to make yourself better. That was the wrong thing to do. I don't ever remember him firing anybody for something in the ring, though.
How many strikes would it be for stuff like outside of the ring? Like, because obviously you deal with Dusty Rhodes and Dick Murdoch and things like that.
Well, God almighty, they were in trouble every week.
Right. So, like, what was Verne's disciplinary? Did that kind of vary by how big of a star they were in certain ways?
No, you just bring them into the office and talk to them.
Yeah.
Get their butts out, and they'd all go have a beer together, and
that's it.
The next time they do something else.
Well, say for example, okay, Dick Murdoch and Dusty do something, so they're notable names. But then say like some lower card, nobody like does something like that. Well, how would Verne handle something like that in comparison?
Well, I mean, if they're totally out of hand and they made something that embarrassed not the wrestler, but the
company,
the company, and the company more so,
and
the fan base and the other wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I know he probably fired a couple guys, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was always, or some guys wouldn't listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most of them though were pretty respectable. Verne had a pretty good reputation.
Yeah.
As did Eddie Graham, Bill Watts, Bob Geigel, so on and so forth. With those guys, they didn't mess around too much.
Yeah.
Or, if there was some off, well, I tell you, the Midnight Rockers almost got fired.
I believe that. Yeah.
And they did some things that were really detrimental, not only to the wrestling, but to people outside.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they were a couple, boy. Yeah. Sean and Marty.
Jeez.
I worked for the WWE. Sean came up to me and he said, "Hey, I got to apologize." For what? I said, "For what?" He said, "Well, for the way I acted in the AWA." And I said, "Well, Sean, you were young then, and we'll let it go."
Yeah.
Now. Okay. Yeah, they did some horrific things.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did fire a couple people now that comes to mind. Yeah.
Well,
I won't say who they were. They didn't get fired though, but they got a good talking to.
Good talking to. Right. Okay, we'll close it out with this one here, Greg. Al Tuttle, who's a regular too, he says, "Greg, I've been watching a lot at 1984 AWA. Mr. Saito was someone I've never seen much of, but he was pretty good. Any stories on him besides the incident with Patera?"
Pretty good. He was phenomenal and tough. You didn't want to mess with Saito.
Yeah.
He wrestled in the Olympics.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, he was double tough and a good guy, but you didn't want to cross him. And he was so solid. He would hit you. Oh my God. And you'd hit him back and he was so hard. And he'd just look at you. You could hit him as hard as you wanted. He'd just look, and then you'd tag out.
Then you tag out. Uh-oh.
You can have him.
Yeah,
he's all yours.
I'm good.
You gave me more of those tags. Hey, Saito was fantastic, and what a great guy outside of the ring too.
Was he the one who broke Hogan's leg? Is he the one that trained Hogan and broke his leg?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah,
I think that's who it was.
Yeah, I think I'm right on that one too.
Yeah.
Man,
you didn't want to get out of line with Saito.
No, it definitely did not. Did not.
Him and Bockwinkel teamed up together, and that was quite a pair.
Wow, what a tandem that is.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was interesting and good.
Oh my gosh. That's, man, how about that? I think Getty says it was Hiro Matsuda that took broke Hogan's leg. Yeah, that must have been him, Hiro Matsuda. So my mistake.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eddie. All right. Well, cool, Greg. This is a fun one. Wow.
Well,
we
good.
got to cover some good ground, current news, and some classic stuff.
And we missed TA, and he'll be back next week.
We'll get him back on here next Friday. Yes, every Friday, typically at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune into Four Horsemen Network. You can tune in live. If you haven't, though, you can check us out on the Gagne Magnum YouTube channel. Just type in Gagne Magnum on YouTube. I'm going to get a vanity link that we can start using too, and we should pop right up. So I'm going to test it out right now. Gagne Magnum. Boom. Yes, it takes you Four Horsemen Network and those channels. So just search for it.
Tell all your friends. Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends. Get the
word out. Questions. So if you have questions, send them in to Dom's.
Send them in to me.
We'll answer them for you. We'll give you the straight talk.
We'll give you all the straight talk. And yes, you can follow Greg on Instagram at gagne.greg. You can follow me on Instagram at dom.deangelo. You can follow Magnum on Instagram at magnum_TA. And check out that hoodie. We're going to have some merchandise here readily available here coming soon again.
Hey, there's a good book on the market too.
Oh, yes. The Verne Gagne book, right? Yes. Be sure to check that out.
With Verne Gagne. Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You can order it online.
Absolutely.
Laura's reading that right now.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to put the link underneath here, and I will have to get a copy of it myself.
One of her sisters read it last week, and she's one of the best books she's ever read.
No way. That's awesome.
And she said it was so interesting following the whole path from, growing up, Verne, what he went through, and all the way to the end.
Wow. So, and was she a wrestling fan at all, or is she not a wrestling fan?
No.
That's awesome. So
and she had us over for lunch the other day, and she just raved about it.
There you go. So
she
guys,
said, I read it in one day.
Wow.
All right. Almost 300 pages.
Well, what I'll do too, Greg, is when I edit this video, I'll put like a little QR code that people can scan and go to that.
I'll send you a book.
So, yeah. Oh, I'd love that. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Sign it for me, Greg. Sign it too.
Oh, no, I can't do that because you'll sell it then and you'll make some money.
No, of course not. I don't do that.
I'll send you one. Okay.
Yeah, I would love that.
Text me over your address. Okay.
Okay. I definitely will.
Good
hey, guys. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in, from Eddie to Triple E to CB to Charlie. We have a good crew always tuning in here and checking it out. Be sure to spread the word. Lay Low, too, who's from Scotland. He sent a shout out, too. So thank you very much, Lay Low, too, for joining. Matt Karcher, who's a big fan. Yeah, here it is. Shout out from Glasgow to the legend himself, Mr. Greg Gagne. Great show as always, gentlemen. Peace and blessings. We appreciate that.
Who'd that come out from?
Lay Low. Lay Low.
Lay Low.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lay Low.
We're worldwide, baby.
Lay low, baby.
Lay low. Hey, you guys lay low until next week. We'll see you here on Straight Talk with the Boss. That would be Magnum TA, who's not here, but the facilitators here, Greg Gagne.
Well, the Phyllis, yeah, but I can't even say what I am.
Okay.
I'm the sidekick.
I'll wait till we get off air.
And the sidekick.
And the sidekick.
All right, perfect.
See you guys next time.
Have a good one, everyone. So long.